Welcome to the Forest and Climate Change podcast. I'm Ruth Martín, Ph.D. in Forestry Engineering, specialized in forest genetics. I'll be your host for the fifth topic of this series, titled, Will Trees Adapt to Climate Change? So far, we have discussed the importance and complexity of forests, as well as some of the many threats they face. Now, we turn our attention to one of the most fascinating questions in species evolution: their adaptations to the environment. This chapter includes 3 episodes in which we will explore key concepts and scientific evidence to understand how species, especially trees, can survive and adapt to the new conditions brought by global change. In this first episode, 3 adaptations to the environment, we'll unpack what adaptation means, what makes trees such unique and important organisms, which factors influence their ability to adapt, and much more. When faced with significant environmental changes, species have 3 possible responses. They can migrate, adapt, or become extinct. Today's global change is happening at an unprecedented pace, making survival more difficult for many species around the world. Like all living organisms, trees adapt to changes in their environment. For instance, they can adjust their growth to the local conditions, and some species are already showing signs of adapting to climate change, such as improving their use of available water. But before diving into specific adaptation strategies, it's important to remember that trees possess several traits or characteristics that make them especially remarkable. They are long-lived organisms, often surviving for decades or even centuries. During that time, they must withstand all environmental changes without moving or take a shelter. They grow continuously throughout their lives and can reach impressive sizes. They produce vast quantities of pollen and seeds, resulting in high genetic diversity within each species. However, only small fractions of those seeds will survive to become mature trees, those that must overcome intense competition. Generational turnover in trees is slow. Many years often pass between one generation and the next. They also have a strong natural ability to defend themselves against pests and diseases. So, what exactly do we mean by adaptation? And how can we measure it? Every tree species we see today is the product of hundreds of millions of years of evolution. One of the key forces in evolution is natural selection, although it's not the only one. Natural selection favors the individuals best suited to their environment, allowing them to survive and reproduce. Over time, this leads to species that are finely tuned to their specific surroundings. Actually, populations of the same species can develop different traits depending on where they grow. Let's take Scots pine as an example. Trees in Soria, Spain, and those in Finland belong to the same species, but they look quite different. These differences help them thrive in their local environments, and each group forms a different population. The visible traits of a tree, what we can see, make up its phenotype. We study phenotypes through characteristics such as bark thickness, fruit production, height, or trunk diameter. Many of these traits can vary depending on environmental conditions. This availability to change in response to the environment is called phenotypic plasticity, and in trees, it can be quite remarkable. Environmental factors such as the availability of water, nutrients, or sunlight, as well as wind, pests, or even fire, can all influence the tree phenotype. To truly understand how trees adapt to their environment, we should focus on two essential components: their genetics and the environment they inhabit. The level of genetic diversity within a species and its ability to adjust its phenotype to different environmental conditions plays a key role in determining how well the species can cope with the challenges of global change. That's all for today's episode. Thank you for listening to Forest and Climate Change podcast.